All right, let us now have a quick fire from the ongoing impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And this evening, I'm joined by Ngesa Omole, who is the co-chair of the coordinating committee of the People's Assembly. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to have you tonight.
Thank you very much, Grace.
Perhaps let's get right into it. What are your thoughts about this particular process that happened today?
Thank you. And first of all, it's important to acknowledge that majority of the Kenyan people had given the entire Kenya Kwanza government a red card, not a section of Kenya Kwanza government. And it is correct to say that after today's public participation, the majority of the Kenyan people repeated that the entire Kenya Kwanza government, particularly, we cannot, in fact, the young people are saying that, why go for Gachagua? You go for Ruto and you get Gachagua for free. That is what the young people are actually identifying. But also, the most important one is the role of the parliament. Remember, the parliament needs to do oversight. The parliament needs to be an independent institution. But we are seeing a situation in our country where the parliament is out of touch with the daily reality of the people. They will want to vote for a section of the Kenya Kwanza government to go. But I think the young people are saying that no, the person who actually removed the safety nets for the majority of the Kenyan people, the person who is imposing the unpopular, anti-people, new financing model for the university, the person who removed Linda Mama, the person who did the experiment with the Hustler Fund is none other than William Samoei Ruto. So either they are going both of them, or we start with William Samoei Ruto, and then Gachagua, of course, will definitely have to.
All right, from what appeared today, do you think that, like Kenyans are coming of age, like they're not going to speak out for themselves? Because I don't think that is what, members of parliament expected from this particular public participation.
It's important to also agree that after the Gen Z uprising in the street, the young people, there is a high new consciousness in the street. People are speaking out. Even today's public participation, we saw young, like for example, Caroline Chepto today made us proud at the Bomas of Kenya, coming out clearly that the demand is that President William Samoei Ruto and the entire Kenya Kwanza government should go home, and all these bills that is being imposed upon the Kenyan people. It's not just the impeachment bill, it is the extension of the presidential term. It only demonstrates that the parliament is out of touch with the daily realities of the people, and they cannot be trusted to run this government. Particularly, even if we look at places in Kakamega, in generally Western Nyanza, in Nairobi, the message was very clear that we need not just one person out of government, but we need the entire Kenya Kwanza. Now even we are demanding that not just the executive, even those in the parliament that actually supported this illegitimate government in their efforts, because all these are unnecessary distractions, Grace. Remember, if you are requested to start a deliberate process where the young majority that are unemployed can get jobs in this country, then all of a sudden you come up with an emotion to impeach your deputy, and then you come up with another motion to extend your term. So it's generally that the Kenya Kwanza is playing the politics of survival, and the crisis that we are seeing that is being tried to be solved through this impeachment motion is not a crisis within the majority of the Kenya people, but is a crisis within the ruling class. These are friends that have been stilling together, but now they have disagreed. But they have decided that instead of settling out their own enmity, they want to drag the Kenyan people that are already overburdened, because it's not Gachagua who is overburdening us with the tax himself. It is the president that Gachagua is the deputy assistant. And it's not just that, it's the Kenya Kwanza government, because even the taxation bills are passed in the House. That is why on 25th of July, when we breached Parliament, we were very clear that the entire regime is rotten to the core. The Parliament is acting as a rubber stamp for the executive, and we must move on steadfastly. And at the National Coordination Committee of People's Assembly, which was birthed in the streets, it's actually to commemorate not just the deaths that took place, but the murder, the many young people that were martyred because who is this cold killer that is killing innocent people? Are you telling us that Gachagua ordered for the majority of the, the police officers to use excessive force? Gachagua is only a small fish, but the main person that actually we saw on TV coming out to call the GNC people that they are criminals, that they are, that they have to be, stopped, is none other than William Samoei Ruto. This is what we must continue to tell the Kenyan people, that the Kenya Kwanza government is beyond reform, that we have to come out, to demand not just accountability now, because it is impossible for William Samoei Ruto under the Kenya Kwanza government to implement any pro-people policy. So that is why we need to start a deliberate process that we have started at the National Coordination Committee for People's Assembly to roll out a pro-people government from below, not to continue begging for this government to roll out the pro-people policies.
All right, finally, as you wrap up, one may wonder what's the need for Gachagua? Should he, pass through the impeachment? Should he not be impeached? What is it for? What's the need for him?
Basically, for us, we see that the continuing infighting within government only will return us back to the dark old days where people are divided on small nations and small tribes to fight for the interest of a few politicians. But if Deputy Gachagua, definitely, from what we see today, the public participation was rather flawed, and the popular demand was that he must go if he has to go. In fact, in Kiswahili, they are saying, kufa dereva, kufa matanga, just makanga, basically saying that at essential when President William Samoei Ruto thinks that he can divert the attention of the Kenyan people to only concentrate to overthrow his deputy, but the Kenyan population is insisting that they have to go together. Now, once Gachagua survives this, then it basically means that the presidency and the deputy presidency are not working together. So we expect more chaos in government. We also expect that upon Raila's return, there will be more realignment in terms of the national discourse, but those realignments will not be to the interest of the Kenyan people, but only a few political leaders.
All right, thank you so much for that. All that is just a wait and see to see whether the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is going to be impeached and what will come next after that. Thank you so much for your time. That is Ngesa, who is the co-chair National Coordination Committee of the People Assembly. Thank you so much.